Let us consider another example on function overloading, that is a program to compute volume of cube, cylinder, cone and cuboid. See, as per the definition, function overloading means two or more functions having same name with different signatures. Signatures means number of arguments or type of arguments or order of arguments. So in this example, we have four functions in the class. In the previous example, I have taken data members to store result. In this example, I am not storing result anywhere. Directly I am calculating and display on the screen. See, volume, volume and volume. There are three functions and here volume. Total four functions because four polygons are there. So, the first function, it has to calculate volume of cube, and the second volume function, volume of cylinder, and this function, volume of cone, and this one, volume of cuboid. Okay, so all functions are performing same kind of operation, so the name is volume. First function, int s, I have taken the argument int s. So from main function we have to pass side of a cube. The volume of cube, the formula I have calculated here, s into s into s. Directly it calculates and display on the screen. And next function, volume of cylinder, the formula is pi r square h. So pi value directly I have given 3.142 into r h into h. Then volume of cone, this volume of cone, it display the result here, that is 1 by 3 pi r square h. So in the next function we are calculating volume of cuboid, that is length into breadth into height. So in all these functions we are performing volume of polygons. So it achieves a function overloading because all functions name is same, but they have taken different type of arguments here. In what way we have differentiated here? Say in the first function, int s is there, no, only one argument. So this volume function, two arguments, so they are differ from the both number of arguments and type of arguments. In the next function, see these two functions name is same, volume here, volume, and here also volume. This function also it takes two arguments, and here also there are two arguments. Then how to differentiate? I change the data type here. Here float, I have taken float int so that the compiler can easily identify and it uniquely identify the function, though the names are same. Here we have taken three different variables, okay, and the data type is also int. So in this case we changed number of arguments. Here there are two arguments, but in this function three arguments. When you come to main function, as usual you know that functions, the member functions are called using object and dot operator. So we need to create object. How to create object? Class name and object name. What is the class name here? F over is the class name. So object I have taken F. So first I would call volume of cube. That's why what is the requirement here? Side. That's why I have taken int s here because I am passing integer type argument here. So I must read integer type value. Enter side of a cube. Then see in extraction, yes, it extracts a value from the keyboard and stores in yes. Now we have to call the function. All functions name is volume. Now which function it has to execute, that is depends on number of arguments and type of arguments. F dot volume, open parenthesis, yes, close. So all functions volume. Then compiler searches for the data type and number of arguments. It won't compare every time. It won't compare with the function name because all functions are same name, having same name. Where is one argument here? That is integer type. So for this particular function call, this function will be executed. Now after execution, what is the next statement here? Float h, r and h. Now I would call next function, that is cylinder, volume of cylinder. So what are the requirements here? Enter radius and height for the cylinder, radius and height. And these two are which type? Floating type. See here, we have taken floating type. void volume, float R, float H. So we have to pass the same kind of same data type values. After that, f dot volume R comma H. See, when this function call happens, the control has to execute this function because both are floating type. Here also float. See, another function is there. This function name is also volume and it's also taking two arguments. But here one is floating type, another one is integer type. So where is the match here for this function call? This function. So this would be executed properly. After that, I am going to execute volume of cone. So for that also I have to pass radius and height. See here, I change the data type here. What is the data type of height here? Integer. Here R is floating type. By that way we had differentiated those functions. In this example, in the main function, already I have taken small r and h. So we should not repeat the same identifier name here in the same module. That's why we have to change the identifier case. RH, or you can take any other variables x, y like that. So it would be related to that task. No? That's why I have taken r and h itself and I changed the case. Enter radius and height for the cone, then r and h. Which function will exactly execute? This function. One is floating type, another one is integer type. The value of capital R copied to small r and the value of capital H copied to small h. Then after execution, next thing is cuboid, length, breadth and height, hi. I have taken hi. Already I used h, capital H, so I changed the identifier here. Enter length, breadth and height. After reading, that function would be called f dot volume, L, B and hi. This function will be executed. So all three variables or arguments are integer type and it receives and it calculates. You all know the execution always starts from main function. So this, after writing this template, we have written the main function. From main function, we are calling the member functions. Obviously, these member functions are there defined before their function call. So it doesn't require function prototype. Okay, every time at the time of compilation itself, compiler compares the function name and all function names are same. And every time whenever it executes, every time it checks only the data type, that is type of arguments, order of arguments and number of arguments. So it won't check function name. So it is fast execution compared to other functions that what we had taken different names for different functions. I hope you understood this function, this program on function overloading concept. Thank you.